Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixie Land. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the NIV, and we are in the book of 2 Samuel, and we are in chapter 2. Continuing the story of King David. David anointed king over Judah, not Israel. Judah. And the one nation becomes two. In the course of time, David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go up to one of the towns of Judah?" He asked him. The Lord said, "Go up." David asked, "Where shall I go?" "To Hebron," the Lord answered. So David went up there with his two wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel, and Abigail, the widow of Nabal of Carmel. David also took the men who were with him, each with his family, and they settled in Hebron and its towns. Then the men of Judah came to Hebron, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. When David was told that it was the men of Jabesh Gilead who buried Saul, he sent messengers to the men of Jabesh Gilead to say to them, "The Lord bless you for showing this kindness to Saul your master by burying him. May the Lord now show you kindness and faithfulness, and I will show you some favor because you have done this. Now then, be strong and brave, for Saul your master is dead, and the house of Judah has anointed me king over them." War between the houses of David and Saul. But he doesn't have any sons left. Meanwhile, Abner, son of Ner, the commander of Saul's army, had taken Ishbosheth, Ishbosheth, son of Saul, so there's another one, and brought him over to Mahanaim, Mahanaim. I'm not saying I'm pronouncing that right, but that's just how I pronounce it. He made him king over Gilead, Ashurah, or Asher, and Jezreel, and also over Ephraim, Benjamin, and all Israel. So Abner had this kid, crowned king. Ishbosheth, son of Saul, was 40 years old when he became king over Israel and reigned 2 years. The house of Judah, however, followed David. The length of the time David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. Abner, son of Ner, together with the men of Ishbosheth, son of Saul, left Mahanaim and went to Gibeon. Joab, son of Zeruiah, Zeruiah, and David's men went out and met them at the pool of Gibeon. One group sat down on one side of the pool and one group on the other. Then Abner said to Joab, "Let's have some young men get up and fight hand to hand in front of us." "All right, let's do them. Let them do it," Joab said. So they stood up and were counted off, 12 men for Benjamin and Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and 12 for David. Then each man grabbed his opponent by the head and thrust his dagger into his opponent's side, and they fell face down. So that place in Gibeon was called Helkath Hazarim, Helkath, and Hazarim, Hazzurim, field of daggers, or field of hostilities. The battle that day was very fierce, and Abner and the men of Israel were defeated by David's men. The three sons of Zeruiah, Zeruiah, were there: Joab, Abishai, and Ashiel. Now Ashiel was as fleet-footed as a wild gazelle. He chased Abner, turning neither right nor left as he pursued them. Abner looked behind him and asked, "Is that you, Ashiel?" "It is," he answered. Then Abner said to him, "Turn aside to the right or to the left. Take one of the young men and strip him of his weapons." But Ashiel would not stop chasing him. Again, Abner warned Ashiel, "Stop chasing me. Why should I strike you down? How could I look your brother Joab in the face?" But Ashiel refused to give up pursuit, so Abner thrust the butt of his spear into Ashiel's stomach, and the spear came out through the back. So he jabbed him so hard with the butt of his spear, not the pointy end, then it went all the way through the guy's body to the other side, like as if it was the pointy side. Wow. That's kind of crazy. He fell there and died on the spot, of course. And every man stopped when he came to the place where Ashiel had fallen and died. But Joab and Abishai pursued Abner, and as the sun was setting, they came to the hill of Ammah, Ammah, near Giah, Giah, on the way to the wastelands of Gibeon. Then the men of Benjamin rallied behind Abner. They formed themselves into a group and took their stand at the top of the hill. Abner called out to Joab, "Must the sword devour forever? Don't you realize this will end in bitterness? How long before you order your men to stop pursuing their brothers?" Joab answered them, "Surely as God lives, if you had not spoken, the men would have continued the pursuit of their brothers until morning. Or spoken this morning, the men would not have been taken up pursuit of their brothers." I see. Or spoken, the men would have given up the pursuit of their brothers. Would not have taken up. Yeah, so if you had been willing to communicate, nobody would be chasing you. So Joab blew the trumpet, and all the men came to a halt. They no longer pursued Israel, nor did they fight anymore. All that night, Abner and his men marched through the Arabah. They crossed the Jordan and continued through the whole of Bithron, Bithron, which has got a footnote on there, or morning or ravine. Okay. So they marched. It's Bithron is a ravine. And came into Manheim. Then Joab returned from pursuing Abner and assembled all his men. Besides Ashiel, 19 of David's men were found missing. But David's men had killed 360 Benjaminites who were with Abner. They took Ashiel and buried him in his father's tomb in Bethlehem. Then Joab and his men marched all night and arrived at Hebron by daybreak. So, the two nations, it was one nation and it has now become two because Abner has anointed his own king. Meanwhile, Judah has decided to follow David because Saul actually anointed David, and they knew that Saul anointed David. And it was only because David didn't want to be king while Saul was still king, because he was like, no, Saul is the God's anointed one. And now we are into a place of two nations. And you will get to see, as these stories continue, how those two nations will parallel each other in their various attitudes. Because this now means that the nation, the capital of Israel in this moment, can't be Jerusalem. That's in Judah's territory, and they can't get to it. So that means Israel needs a different capital. So we'll get to see how that plays out over the next following videos. So until the next video, friends.